Okay, these microphones are really tall. Thanks everybody for coming out, VIPs, members of the media. We appreciate your joining us for a very fun day for the Waterloo Black Hawks organization. We're going to rewind back on June 18th. It was really a remarkable day to have the Blackhawks hire Scott Gordon, an NHL coach, formerly with the New York Islanders and the Philadelphia Flyers, as a head coach, also as an assistant with the San Jose Sharks and Toronto Maple Leafs. So with those 4 different stops at the NHL level, that is 1/8 of the National Hockey League that Coach Gordon has had connections with and had the opportunity to be part of their leadership. And so now to bring that experience to Waterloo is very exciting. Just a little bit more about Coach Gordon's background for those that aren't familiar. He played at Boston College. He reached the National Hockey League as a goaltender with the Quebec Nordiques and moved from his playing career almost directly into coaching in 1994. So he has coaching stripes that date back now a little bit more than 30 years. So a really remarkable background. I'd be remiss too if I didn't mention his success in the American Hockey League. And our general manager, Kevin Gibson, made a special point of that to me a few weeks ago, pointing out that the American Hockey League, the AAA essentially of hockey in the United States, is the top development league in the world. They're going to send so many of their players onto the NHL, and I'm sure Coach Gordon could talk about this way more than I could, but just imagine being that close and needing to do just these little things to change your game and put yourself at a level where you can take the step to be in the National Hockey League. Coach Gordon worked with those players and also won 400 games at the same time, which at that point only 5 other coaches in the American Hockey League had ever done. So a remarkable track record of success. I'd also like to take a moment or two to kind of speak a little bit about the coaching history of the Waterloo Black Hawks. If we go all the way back to the 1960s, the first 4 Waterloo Black Hawks coaches were player coaches. They were here, they were actually playing out on the ice. Their teammates that they were coaching were their peers, really. We go from that into the 1970s when there are former Blackhawks who are coaching the team, and Dave Swick and Jack Barzy, and Jack's gone on to win the award from the hockey writers that is given to people who have made tremendous contributions to hockey in the United States, the Lester Patrick Award that he was presented with a few years ago, in part for his time in Waterloo. In the 1980s and into the 90s, the USHL changed into a junior league, and the players in the age bracket that we have now, the coaching also changed. We went from having some more established coaches who had a lot of stripes in the hockey world to younger coaches who were looking for their first opportunities. And Mike Brown, who's with us, might be able to tell you a little bit about the resources that those coaches didn't have at that time, but really worked hard at it, and it was a stepping stone onto something bigger. But in a lot of cases, it was a first opportunity for those head coaches. In 2002, P.K. O'Handley took over as the head coach of the Blackhawks and had a remarkable tenure here, coached for nearly 20 years and won more games than any other coach in USHL history, and really did a lot to set the culture here in Waterloo. Coach Matt Smaby, over the last 4 years, been the head coach, a former NHL level player who was well positioned with his abilities and with the foundation that had been laid here to continue having success. But this is really a remarkable time for the Blackhawks to have a coach like Coach Gordon and his experience that he brings, and it's particularly timely because the environment in junior hockey at this level of development has been evolving very quickly, and we're at a point where players are going to need to demand more from their development than they ever have before, and have more opportunities to pursue things that they feel will allow them to develop in ways that they perceive to be best. So having a coach with an NHL caliber resume puts Waterloo in a really special position to try to help them meet those goals and see what they feel like they should be getting out of their junior hockey experience. And for a little bit more on that, I'd like to introduce our team president, Joe Green, who can talk a little bit more about this opportunity to bring Coach Gordon into the organization from an organizational standpoint.
Thanks, Tim, and thanks everyone for being here today. It's an exciting day to be a Waterloo Black Hawk. It's an exciting day for our organization as we introduce you to the new head coach of the Waterloo Black Hawks, Scott Gordon. Great people. The foundation of the Waterloo Black Hawks' success in the past, in my opinion, it's built on a foundation of great people first. Scott's experience behind the bench in the National Hockey League and on the international stage representing the United States of America provides our players with an impressive resource as we prepare for the 2025-26 season. The landscape of junior hockey has changed immensely over the past year, and competition to attract the best hockey players in the world at this age level is higher than ever before. The commitment from the Blackhawks ownership group to bring on someone with Coach Gordon's pedigree shows that our organization is committed to finding continued success both on and off of the ice. Our organization was absolutely committed to finding the highest qualified candidate for this position, and we feel that we've done that and accomplished that with the hiring of Coach Gordon. It was also of extreme importance to retain certain individuals that have helped us find success in the past, and we've done so with assistant coaches Brett Olson and CJ Ike. Brett Olson was recently promoted to associate head coach and is a former captain and player of the Blackhawks. CJ Ike was also retained, and we couldn't be more excited to see what this group can accomplish moving forward together. Coach Gordon will also be a mentor to everyone on our staff as we work towards bringing the Clark Cup back to Waterloo. Our hockey operations staff also includes athletic trainer Todd Klein, who has been taking the absolute best care of our players for decades at Young Arena. Strength and conditioning coach Spencer Papinga. Spencer has also recently been promoted to Director of Sports Performance, and congratulations, Spencer. Stay tuned for that formal announcement in the next few days. Equipment manager Chris Kiefer continues to provide strong support for all of our players behind the scenes, and we're lucky to have a hockey operations staff that collectively provides our players with the very best resources in the business. Also, Tim mentioned our new general manager, Kevin Gibson. Kevin was unable to be here today, but we're really excited about Kevin's addition to the organization and his experience with the NHL's Detroit Red Wings. Along with our front office staff, we are extremely confident in the future is very bright in Party Town. We can't wait for opening night on September 27th. I started this presentation talking about great people, and now it's my honor to introduce you to the new head coach of the Waterloo Black Hawks, Scott Gordon.
Well, it's for me, it's a great honor to come to such a storied franchise in the USHL. When I started this process of looking for a job after I left San Jose, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. The time in San Jose with a rebuilding franchise where the roster was being changed significantly to accumulate draft picks led to 2 struggling years, and we knew what we were getting into when we started, but that's not to say that it was easy. So as I packed up my stuff and I went home from San Jose, what I was going to do after that I wasn't sure, and as it turned out, the coach of Youngstown called me and asked me about coming in to help him if I didn't have anything that I was interested in. And so I ended up spending last year in the USHL coaching as an assistant coach with him in Youngstown. Through that time, and I when I walked through the door, I still wasn't sure if this was the right thing to do. By the end of the year, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And part of it is we had a really good organization. We had great people that we worked with day in and day out. And the one thing that my biggest takeaway was the players and their passion to play the game, to work, to want to get better, and just the enthusiasm that they brought to the rink every day, knowing that they were striving for bigger and greater things. And so when it was all said and done, the year was over. Now I said, you know what, if there's something that presented itself to me, I was going to take a hard look at it, and as it turned out, I'm standing here in front of you with what I consider one of the top organizations in the USHL. And as you travel around the USHL, you don't, I've heard about the different cities and the teams. My two boys played a little bit in the league, but you don't really know what everything about every organization. And very quickly, you come to find out who's the top organizations. And now that I'm here, it all starts with people. And obviously, Joe went through all the people that are here. But now, having been here and meeting all the different people and their passion and the longevity that they've had in the organization, there's certainly an element of a quality organization that you want to be a part of and have success with. So I'm here now, I'm excited, and I can't wait to get started. So thank you for coming out, and if you have any questions, fire away.
Coach, you have an impressive resume. You almost seem overqualified for a position like this. What are your long-term goals?
I think every job that I've had, I've never looked at tomorrow. I've looked at today. And right now, my long-term goals are helping these players achieve their goals, whether it be to get a college, to have success in college, and hopefully get drafted and play in the NHL. One of the things that, as I started my process of coaching, the one thing that I really enjoyed the most was being able to tell a player that he was going to take the next step. Whether it was moving up to a higher league, whether it was going to the NHL, you call him up and you say, I got some good news for you. You're going up to play for, let's just say, the Philadelphia Flyers. And having lived through that moment with my coach, I knew what I was thinking and how I felt, and to be able to have the opportunity to do that to your players, to me, was something that always stuck with me throughout all the years that I've coached. When you're in the NHL, you're obviously striving for Stanley Cup. You don't have that same kind of connection with the players. It's a little bit different. In the minors, it's more about developing the players and trying to help them reach their goals. And the one thing that's even better about this level is you're dealing with kids that they don't know what professional hockey is about. They don't know. There's just so many things that I was able to share with the players last year, and they'd ask you all kinds of questions, and it just felt good to be able to share that. And sometimes they were teaching things too, like on the ice, they'd ask you what makes so and so good, and then you can go down a laundry list of things that make them effective, and what their perceptions are of players aren't always the same as what the coaches see, but it's still good conversations, and I think they can identify with those things that help them get better as players.
Coach, you touched a lot on why you want to coach at this level, but what specifically about this organization drew you in?
Well, just the people that I worked with in Youngstown, we'd have conversations about the top organizations, and Waterloo always came up. I didn't know anything about what the city was like, the rink was like, the team was like, until we came here, I think it was in February last year. And I couldn't get over the size of the crowd, how passionate the crowd was. They had a great team, they played really hard. So for me, those were a lot of boxes were checked. And I looked at this as one of the better opportunities in the league.
Have you talked with the players yet?
Yes, the ones that are returning players, I've spoken to them, yeah.
Your thoughts about the team coming back for next year? I know you're in the infant stages now, but what are your thoughts heading into this upcoming year?
Well, I think in the USHL, there's a lot of turnover with players. Every year you have players that are moving on to college, or they're done playing hockey, whatever it might be. This year's a little bit different because of the way that it's working with the CHL and colleges, and so there's a lot of unknowns. But just in the video that I watched and speaking to different people, we have some good pieces here, and we're excited to get started with it.
What brand of hockey will we see your Scott Morton team play?
It'll be similar to what you saw last year with how aggressive the team was, but if there's one thing that I'd like our team to when the fans come in and they watch the game, they'll be able to say that this team, they do certain things that we haven't seen before. And it might be how we play in the offensive zone or how we come out of our zone. Without getting into the details of how we're going to do it, but that's going to be something hopefully that you'll be able to see when you watch us play.
Coach, when PK O'Hanley was here, he always said he wanted to run this junior program like it was a professional team, and he said he looked for players with a mindset that are able to handle that kind of tough environment. What do you look for in players?
I think any coach wants players that want to compete, and they want to compete all the time. And when you don't compete as hard as the guy beside you, it's pretty telling, and you can learn pretty quickly where you stand and what your future is going to hold. Because if that's not in your DNA, that you want to battle the guy that's right beside you in practice, or battle the guy during the course of a game for 60 minutes, you're not going to last. So I think that's one of the most telling things about players is how hard they compete, and it starts in practice.
Do you have a relationship with Kevin Gibson prior to this?
No.
Okay.
Do now. We got a lot of conversations.
Yeah, I was going to say, how has that worked out so far?
It's been good, yeah. It's, there's so much more that goes into coaching now. There used to be GM coach, right? But now there's too many players out there that you're in competition with, not just in the U.S., but Canada and Europe. And, to be able to think that you can put together a scouting staff, be able to have meetings, be able to watch players, and still be an effective coach, that's a pretty tough task. And I think that the fact that Eric Peterson recognizes that's an important part of a successful organization now, to have a full-time GM, that to me is a strength of the organization. All good? All right. We'll see you in September. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks again, everybody, for coming out, and I don't know if anybody really got into any of the goodies. So.